up, hip-hop family? It's your boy Mood616 here, and I'm back with another episode of Funky Friday. This is episode 21, I believe. So yeah. So for this week's edition, actually this week I've been listening to a lot of brand new stuff, but this is an album I've always been going back to ever since it came out in 2009, and I can't get enough of this album. You know, it was my favorite album in 2009. It's actually one of my favorite albums of the entire 2000 decade. It was just such a great album to like end off that decade, and I don't know, man, it just, you know, it wasn't really that big of a surprise. I had a little bit of high expectations for it, kind of, but you know, it definitely delivered. And yeah, I'm talking about Diamond District's in the Ruff. I mean, most people have definitely heard of this album. If you're familiar with Mellow Music Group, you've probably heard this one. And if you're familiar with Odyssey, you've most definitely heard this album before. Yeah, this is not obscure or anything. It's just, I'm talking about this album today because I absolutely love it. And yeah, I mean, most of the albums that I talk about on Funky Fridays are basically throwback albums to the 90s and shit like that. But you know what? Why not mix it up and throw in a newer album? This one's about 4 years old now, but yeah. Anyways, so Diamond District in the Ruff, released in 2009, a Mellow Music Group consisting of Odyssey, Uptown XO, and YU, hailing from Washington DC. Now, I've heard some people say that this is kind of considered a concept album. I mean, and for the simple reasons that, you know, it's basically all about, you know, the Diamond District in Washington, D.C. But then again, you know, you could consider a lot of albums concept albums if they're just talking about all the shit that happens in their neighborhood or in their area. I don't really consider it a concept album. I just think it's I think it's just one of these albums that just showcases, you know, where they're from really well. You know, it talks about their slang and their growing up and shit like that, and it really works. Odyssey pretty much produced this entire record with the exception of a couple songs on here. Dunk, he produced Of the Shining. Slim Cat 78 produced Off the Late Night, and Something for Y'all was produced by Kent Brown. So he pretty much produced this. This album has 14 tracks plus a hidden track on here, so produced 12 of the 15 tracks. Now, Odyssey's production on this album is very boom bappy. He uses great samples. I love the arrangement of his songs too. Just fantastic samples and arrangement. With that said, you know, the album has a super awesome feel right through it. Like, it fucking molds so well. The songs that were produced by the other cats fit in really well in this record. So it has that just perfect mold right from top to bottom. There's really no flaws in this entire record. As for the MC, and Odyssey, I think does a really good job on this record. You know, he throws down verses on pretty much most of the songs, along with XO and YU. I think the three of them complement each other on this record so well. The thing I really love about this record the most is that it feels like, this group album feels like a De La Soul record to me. I mean, I'm not comparing it to De La Soul, just it has that type of vibe with the MCs, you know. And what I mean by that, I mean, the MCs don't try to outshine each other from verse to verse. They just complement each other so well. You know, it's not like, you know, an example of like, I always think of this, the song Beast from the East by the Lost Boys featuring A+, and I think Redman and Cannabis on that song. And I always find that Cannabis, you know, when he's featured on a song, he really tries to outshine everybody on the track. And that's a perfect example of a song where he kind of does, like, he just fucking rips the verse to shreds and really sticks out. It's a good and a bad thing, but I find on this album, like, nobody tries to do that. They complement the verses so well, everything blends so well, and it just makes for a really enjoyable listen. Like I said, the beats are just fantastic. Some of the absolute bangers on this album: Streets Won't Let Me Chill in the background, Who I Be, Back to Basics, I Mean Business. Like, I mean, those are four of the best songs in a row I've heard, you know, since albums from the 90s, really. This album starts out so fucking strong. You know, I mean, some of the songs towards the end are a little slower, but they're still fantastic, man. They just really arranged well and just really fit the mold of the record so well. So, but this is one I highly, highly recommend. I mean, if you're a fan of Mellow Music Group, you probably checked out Odyssey's solo stuff, his beat tapes. You know, EXO just dropped a record, which will be in my next update, which will be coming at the end of this month. So if you're anticipating an update, it will be here probably next weekend. I'll probably be doing it. And YU's dropped a couple really awesome records too, so Mellow Music Group, you really can't go wrong with anything they're dropping, but in my opinion, this might be the highlight of their entire catalog. That's just my opinion, don't hold it against me, but I don't know, this album right here just does it for me. I think it's one of the best albums in the 2000s, along with, I did Brothers Band a couple weeks ago on here as episode 20, and that album is actually one of my favorite albums in the 2000s also, so I'm not trying to start a trend here, I just, by chance, it's just the way it worked out, but anyways, Diamond District in the Ruff, this album's readily available still. You can, you know, it's not out of print or anything. I don't think any Mellow Music Group albums are out of print as far as I know. Maybe, I'm not, don't quote me on that, but I think that they're all still available, except for maybe Odyssey's very first release on their, maybe the 101 record, I can't remember. But anyways, if you love, you know, new age boom bap with just, you know, solid MCing and just a great mold, Diamond District in the Ruff is definitely for you. Love this album, man. So yeah, if I had to rate this album, I mean, I really don't give, you know, perfect scores, but this is definitely like a 4.5 out of 5 for me. You know, it's a personal classic of mine, a personal favorite classic. I don't know. I really don't like to use the word classic that much with brand new material, but love this album. Definitely peep it out if you have not. But if you're watching this right now, you probably have checked this out. You probably own this record, and you probably love this record. So, yeah. Anyways. Just thought I would talk about this one because I've been rocking this record all week. I fucking can't get enough of the beats and the samples. It's just so awesome. Anyways, it's enough rambling. Mood616 signing off. Thank you for joining me here on episode 21. I will try to keep doing these more frequently. Like I said, every 2 weeks is probably what it's going to be. But I do them when I can. And actually, I got to rip to work right now because there's kind of some shit going down there. So, anyways, peace out, homies. Leave comments if you want. Cheers.